Goblin Vyke has been building a lot of attention before its release, and honestly it's not hard to see why. The premise here alone gets people interested. You play a goblin who can't fight at all, so completely not talented in combat, but he still has to survive a dungeon that is full of monsters, steal everything that isn't nailed down, and then sell it at your own shop the next morning. Combining stealth dungeon runs with a full shopkeeping system in one game is something that nobody has really done quite like this before. Of course, similar concepts, but not quite like this. The game's demo alone got people genuinely excited. That said, the game is not perfect, and we will get to the couple drawbacks. But there is a lot going on here worth knowing about first. Thank you at this point to HKGS Star Vault Tech Limited for sponsoring this video, and for fully accepting my editorial independence. The game's story sets things up simply. Your father ran a shop his whole life, tried to do things the honest way, took out a loan to keep it going, and ended up working himself to death, with nothing to show for it. The bank now owns the shop, and the smug banker gives you a simple ultimatum: pay back the debt in chunks every few days, or lose everything. On top of that, a talking mask shows up and tells you that honesty is what killed your father, and that the only way forward is greed. So you put the mask on, and that is your motivation sorted. The game has a decent sense of humor about all of this throughout. The core gameplay loop is this: night is for stealing, day is for selling. These two halves alternate constantly and feed into each other. So let's start with the night. At night you head into the dungeon with no weapons, no spells, and no way to win a straight fight. What you do have is the ability to crouch, move quietly, set traps, and pick pockets. You walk up behind enemies, open their bags through a small tiding minigame, and take whatever they are carrying: swords, bows, scrolls, potions. All of this goes into your backpack. Most enemies follow set patrol paths, so a lot of it comes down to watching and waiting for the right moment. You also carry coin Beetles, which are throwable distractions. If you toss one somewhere, the enemy goes investigate, so you can use that window to go through their stuff. When sneaking is not an option, traps are your best tool. The dungeon is full of them: pressure plates, arrow mechanisms, falling objects. You can lead enemies into these on purpose, and once you understand a room's layout, it starts feeling more like a puzzle than a fight. Items you find along the way help too. The dungeon is built Metroidvania style, so everything is connected, and the more you explore, the more shortcuts open up. Statues placed throughout let you teleport home, which matters because dying means losing most of what you picked up. Knowing when to head back is a real decision you make constantly. Your backpack space is of course limited, so you're always thinking about what's actually worth carrying, and what you simply leave behind. As you progress, you unlock skills that change how you move. The double jump and grappling hook are the most important early on. Then there are more subtle upgrades, like opening bags more quietly, moving faster after steal, or spot enemies earlier. You buy all this with money, which directly competes with paying off your debt. During the day you open the shop, customers come in, tell you what they want, and you pull items from what you stole the night before. Then you either take the standard price or you haggle. Haggling works through dice rolls where you're building up a persuasion value. If you go over the limit, then the deal collapses, and you end up selling at 0.6 times the normal price. And yes, this stings. What keeps this from being pure luck is focus, a resource that resets daily. You spend this on haggling skills, some of which you find in the dungeon. One repeats your last dice roll exactly, another adds a guaranteed fixed number. So these make a real difference, and as your shop levels up, your focus cap increases, and you get access to better skills. And furthermore, leveling the shop also unlocks more display slots. Now you also meet characters in both the dungeons and town, who have their own situations going on. Some become regular customers, some give you quests, some hand over useful items if you help them out. It gives the world a bit personality without getting in the way. A bit later you can also hire employees who go into the dungeon themselves, which also means you stop having to grind the same areas repeatedly. You do negotiate their pay when hiring them, and yes, you can push this number down pretty far. The game has multiple large maps beyond the first dungeon, each with different traps, different enemies, and of course different puzzle setups. The variety here is a genuine strength, but due to an embargo, I'm not allowed to show more of this. Now the drawbacks. The haggling dice can be genuinely frustrating early on, before you have enough focus and skills to manage the randomness. One bad roll can collapse the deal you actually needed, and that has a real knock-on effect for your debt payments. The stealth also demands lots of patience, and if an enemy's patrol is slow, and you don't have the tools to speed things up yet, then you're just standing there waiting. The first few hours ask for a bit more patience than a concept might lead you to believe, and there isn't isn't much breathing room to experiment when you're constantly worried about the next payment. So yes, the early game can feel quite slow before you unlock the mobility skills. Overall, Goblin Vyke is a pretty easy recommendation if the premise sounds interesting to you at all. The two halves of the game genuinely work together. The world does have enough personality to keep you engaged, even between runs. And this sentence concludes today's video. If your time was respected, a like or comment is very much appreciated.